Well, hello there. This is going to seem really weird for Annabelle and myself because we're in separate boxes this week due to
Separate
circumstances.
boxes.
Yes, exactly. I suddenly
Same
feel
page, different book.
yeah. Why do I suddenly feel like this is a Hollywood Squares? No, it's definitely not that. How you doing, Annabelle? What's up?
I'm good, Rob. How are you?
Not too bad. Sorry I'm not there. Obviously, we had some circumstances, so we're doing it this way where I will be bunkered in from my place. You are where your cameras are, looking stunning as ever.
Thank you, sir, as you are. Just to fill everybody in, I'm dog sitting for my sister-in-law. I've got her great big giant puppy here, and we have a lot of dog barking in the background. So I thought one more, he just got here last night, so one more element may have been a little bit disruptive to the show. So Rob is at home, and I may mute myself occasionally, but I'm still here. I'll still be in the chat. I'll still be talking to you guys. But we've got some cool stuff going on. Rob, you want to tell everybody who's going to be on the show today?
Well, let's bring up our panel. We got three of our usuals are here with us down in Florida. FTA coming in. We've got Tarot Destiny as well. Our friend TD. Also coming in from the West Coast, our man Thor Sandalwood is here as well. And boy, what a last 72 hours we've seen in the news. Holy crap.
We have. And just so everybody knows, Rick is doing a live event today. Rick Paul, he will be back for our next episode. He's got tonight off. Well, not really, just tonight off from us.
well, we will bring Rick up in spirit because I'm going to give props to where props are due. Sometimes when we do this, which is for entertainment purposes only, so please no wagering, sometimes we get a few things right. Now, this was in our quick hit segment at the wrap-up of 2 weeks ago. I throw Rick on the spot on a topic he knows nothing about, which is baseball. Now, take a listen to the clip, and I'll explain why he got this right. Anna, hit it for us, please.
I sure can. Just give me 1 second. I will bring it up.
Dodgers are predicted to win 103 games by the betting sites. The card is
Sun in reverse.
Rick.
Don't agree.
Okay.
As I say, the sun in reverse for me, I mean, when it's upright, it's all about nurturing. It's all about bringing life to, giving, sort of growth, shedding a light on things. That, for me, when I'm just getting the feeling behind it, as I say, I'm not really sure about reversals, but my feeling around that card is somebody or something in decline.
Well, in this case, when we talk about somebody or something in decline, Shohei Ohtani makes national news by supposed gambling debts of $4.5 million, which supposedly his interpreter was doing the gambling. Now the question becomes, as the investigation is being launched by Major League Baseball, who and what placed the $4.5 million in bets? Now, this would not be a big deal, but keep in mind, in the state of California, it is still illegal to place a sports bet. Now, we can get into this all we want, but we got too much going on. But Rick, in a weird way, kind of nailed that 2 weeks ago, saying someone or something. Who would have thought it would be the $700 million star player getting himself in hot water, potentially? Something we're going to watch on.
I'm calling this a psychic score.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
So well done to our colleague Rick. Rob and I discussed it, and we're gonna try and highlight our psychic scores at the beginning of every show. One of the tough things about being a psychic is that there's no litmus test. You just kind of have to ride it out and see. And the worst part is that there's always free will that goes into our predictions. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to prove that we were right. So it's very interesting. I myself, I have a few friends that tell me about readings I did. I hate to say 30 years ago, but 30 years ago. And they're like, you were right. That really happened. I'm like, okay, I don't really remember the reading, but I've done so many at this point. But I applaud our friend Rick. So
absolutely. So it's a great way to bring Rick in spirit on this one. Hey guys, before we get into the round table, I'm going to throw Thor a curveball as we start, because we know a few days ago there was a major eclipse event. So in your readings, how does an eclipse play into your world?
An eclipse is a major event. So basically, the energies, if you want to call them universal energies, they're amplified during an eclipse. Because it's if you think about the sun and the moon are both like they emit energy. So when you have the shadow go over the moon or the sun, it's like it's short circuiting, and then it amplifies the energy once that short circuit happens. So whatever karma is ripe and ready to unfold, it basically gets triggered in the eclipse.
It's interesting because after the eclipse, it seemed like all hell broke loose around here. I mean, not that I'm saying it might be sort of a coincidence, but do you see the patterns? Like, here's the eclipse, and then the world news cycle just went a little nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that when there's eclipses, usually about a week before and even 30 days after the eclipse, you can see just a lot of events happening. And I'm sure we're going to talk about a few. Like we had the bridge in Baltimore.
Absolutely.
And then we had the stuff going on with Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then also I think in the last week in the last week, Princess or Catherine, Princess of Wales, came out with and said that she was diagnosed with cancer, and all this happened within like 1 week. So it's
right there. I think he set up most of the show. So thank you for the setup. That was beautiful, without even knowing it. And since you mentioned P. Diddy, I think that's where we got to start, panel, because Sean Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy Do Wrong, Combs is in a little bit of hot water. Federal investigators have raided his places in Miami, also out on the east and west coast, and 2 sons and a guy who they're calling the drug mole were placed in the handcuffs in Miami. So far, do we know where P. Diddy is? No, not at the moment. And since this incident has happened, we now know of at least 5 people who have come forward, including Cassie Ventura and Joey Dickerson Neal, claiming that there was rape and physical abuse.
You can't say that. You can't say that. You have to say the R word.
Okay, we will say there was something that happened. I apologize to our panel. See, I'm learning something along the way. But then Little Rod Jones, who supposedly was one of his right-hand guys, now he is called the subject of unwanted advances. Can I say it that way?
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
Awesome.
Thank you. See, I correct myself on the fly. Thank you very much. Any way you slice this, there are patterns of bad behavior and questionable situations that are arising in his empire, which, by the way, is worth somewhere in the neighborhood of several $billion. And we've seen some names pop out in this whole situation, ranging from Cuba Gooding Jr. to Prince Harry, and even a quote from Usher coming out in the last day saying he saw some strange things when he was living there as a teenager back in the day. Anna, I'm curious to see what the cards are going to hold for the potential future of the Diddy Empire. Not just Diddy, but his entire empire is at risk.
I think that's a good look that we should. Well, it's a bad look, but I think it's a good look that we should take. Shelly's also saying the Nickelodeon thing came out, and boy, did it! It was all over the place. I went down that rabbit hole yesterday. Let's pull up the card view as well. And I'm just going to make some things bigger here so that we can all look. So looking at the Diddy Empire, I'm looking right now. Diddy is worth $90 million on his own. Pull up the Empire once I drop these cards. It's a little sloppy shuffle for you guys.
That's nothing new.
Butterfingers, man. Butterfingers.
I tell you, I don't know how you do it because, again, I shuffle a regular deck. And keep in mind, opposed to a poker deck to a tarot deck, the cards are bigger. And that doesn't make it easy.
I'll let you handle my Crowley deck. That's really big.
All right, Anna, what's the play-by-play here?
Ooh, so if we're talking about the Empire, if we're talking about the whole kit and caboodle, and I'm just going to put on here. $1 billion. $1 billion.
How did I know that was coming?
So
Dr. Evil.
all of the
Only one of
ventures,
us has the hairdo. Let's get that straight.
all of the ventures are about 1 billion. So this is kind of interesting. Now, knowing a thing or two about how some of these larger businesses are put together, thanks to my dad, it looks like we're in a bit of trouble here. So we start being in a bit of trouble, but it's not insurmountable trouble. So this not 10 of Wands always makes people very confused, because this person is burdened with a number of sticks and they're having some trouble, and it looks like they're carrying them very awkwardly, but they're still carrying them. They're still off the ground. So again, when I teach my students tarot, I teach that there's a inclining energy, a stable energy, and a declining energy for both the upright and the reverse. So there's 6 meanings to every single card, essentially. You can start out with 1 meaning when you're first learning, and then you can go into the 6 as you get old like me. But in this case, there's a lot of pokers in the fire. There's a lot of work going into this. There's a lot of busy legal people right now, which means that, there's some $1,000 an hour attorney who is just going ka-ching, 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 and taking pieces of that 1 billion or the 90 million. So everybody's hard at work. The levels of protection that we have here are vast. Remember the old Get Smart intro where you had to go through all those doorways?
Oh, yeah.
So I think we've got a lot of protections in place, and this doubled down on that. We have all of the money is tied up. Now, I said in my own personal reading on this, I think there's 2 sets of books. I think there's a cover business for some of the other business that was going on, some of the not so good business. And I think that they've got it well in hand. I think there are some really smart people working on this. So here, it looks like crisis averted for the Empire. We're talking about the Empire here.
Right.
Crisis averted. Now, keep in mind, he's got a ton of kids. All of them are players in this. 2 of them were on site. They were handcuffed and on the ground.
And I was just about to bring that up to you. When you say crisis averted, knowing full well, we've seen at least 3 arrests between the 2 sons and another key party in the Diddy Empire already in custody. But you're saying that as far as his business is concerned, it will survive based on the cards.
It looks like the business is going to do well. It looks like they're going to put somebody else in place. Things will be wiggly for the time being, for obvious reasons. And under the surface, they are very carefree and enthusiastic about the outcome. You ain't got nothing on me, babe. Like, that's kind of the attitude here. You ain't got nothing on me. I am Teflon. Or Kevlar, maybe in some cases, but I think really this is, I think the Empire is going to carry on my wayward son.
Very good Kansas quote there. And what's interesting too is that he has suffered accusations before, nothing to this extreme, obviously, but let me throw it to the panel now. FTL, when you take a look at this, we see Anna saying he'll survive this. Do you agree?
Part of me does. I think he's the business will survive, but I think on the court of public opinion, he's going to get thrown to the wolves. Look what happened to Bill Cosby. He's so I think his business will survive, but I think he's personally, his reputation, him as a person is shot.
I can't disagree as far as the shot part is concerned. I mean, a lot of times when you go through this kind of stuff, something in your arsenal, whether it be the business or your reputation, takes a massive blow. Thor, what do you think?
So I feel like, the Empire is going to be fine. Especially with the 4 of Pentacles. So I feel like, and I watched something recently, and P. Diddy, one of his big things was he liked to say he's a businessman.
Right.
So, I mean, they probably set up the LLCs and all the different, where the Empire is probably not going to be personally liable, but he might be liable personally for whatever the allegations are, out there. What we'll see how that comes out, but I do feel like we are watching another downfall, just like we saw with R. Kelly, and we saw with some of the other events that happened.
Yeah, unfortunately, the R. Kelly situation is a good comparable there, Thor. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
One of the cases has already been settled, and that was the one with Cassie Ventura. Apparently, when she put the accusations in, P. Diddy and his people settled the case about 24 hours later. So,
Yeah.
obviously,
Wow.
that's something to keep in mind because now there's still 4 cases outstanding. TD, give you the last word.
I think it's a heavy burden that they're carrying there in regard to their house. They're trying to hold on to what they have, and the empire, the business will come through it fine. I think that Mr. Combs has to answer to a lot of questions, and how they're going to get to him, I don't know, but I'm not so sure he's going to survive as far as his reputation, as far as the public's concerned, or anything like that.
I think what's interesting too is the collateral damage that's going to happen, and I think this is where maybe another a reading may come into play, because I mentioned some of the names that have already come out. Cuba Gooding Jr. and Prince Harry are 2 names that have been not named, but have been associated in the last 36 hours with the P. Diddy situation. I don't know how deep these people are involved in this, and I know you're a big royal head, Annabelle, so I would think Prince Harry could be a very interesting read here, knowing all the things that have been going on with the royals, especially over the last month or 2.
I gotcha. I'm going to throw some cards on that.
I appreciate that. Out of all the collaterals, that's probably the most interesting collateral out of this whole thing.
So, psychically, just doing the psychic because I don't need the cards. I like the cards because they're fun. But psychically speaking, I don't think that Harry was as much of a player as everyone would like to have. Like, everyone wants to, throw him up and
Right.
throw some dirt on him. They want to make him the villain of the day and let him, go the plaid with that villainry. But I think, truth be told, that he has some issues with party favors, if we know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think he gravitates to where the party favors are. And if there's a bump, fun party going on, he wants to be a part of it. I think
Annabelle, it seems like he's not shy from the camera when those moments happen. He's almost like wanting to get the photo done.
Yeah. Living in LA, and I hate to mess with the algorithm, but and Rob, from your experience in radio, there's a lot of star fuckery that goes on out there.
And I have seen it, so yes,
Yeah.
I can definitely say that.
I don't like to curse on my channel, but you really can't call it anything else.
We can't come up with a better word. If we can, we'll do it better next time.
Yeah, I'll figure out a better word. But I think on Harry's part, I think he, despite being part of one of the most famous families in the world, despite being part of the longest standing royal family, he's still dazzled by celebrity, but he's dazzled in the sense that he gets to get down with the normal people. Now, all of us here on the panel and everybody watching, we know that the Diddys and the Madonnas and the, Johnny Depps of this world, they're not normal people. They're not the regular folk like us. But for Harry, they're the regular folk. He gets to be real with them, which is bizarre.
Because you just called P. Diddy regular people. That alone is bizarre.
Yeah, but that's kind of his thinking. I mean, you have to think of it in terms of elevation,
right?
And I think, having, celebrities like to have a a stable of folks that they go to. Some even like having a psychic on board, just saying. But they like to have like a supermodel, a celebrity chef, I'm friends with so-and-so. So I think that Harry was part of a stable. I don't know if he realized it, but like, you know, first into the party, first into the bathroom, if you know what I mean. You know, I think, and I don't think that that's his thing of choice. I think he's more of a Steve Miller Band kind of guy. I know I'm doing great. I'm doing great with all
I
this.
know. I like all that.
references. Who would have thought he'd take the money and run? Anyway, continue.
So I don't think that he's as deeply involved as the world would like him to be right now. I think he's on the periphery. I think he's been at parties. I think he's partaken in all kinds of stuff that goes on there. I think girls flirted with him and he hung out with them, but I don't think none of this happened.
Okay.
You know, I think that's the situation. What does everybody else think on this? Oh, yeah, actually, can we go to Thor and kind of see what Thor's take is on this? I'm curious what Thor has to say.
Yes, please.
Oh, Prince Harry. Well, I feel like with Prince Harry, now I don't feel like this particular scandal is really going to affect Prince Harry. I think I agree with you, Annabelle. And looking at the astrology chart, I feel like with Prince Harry, the issues are more with I feel like it's more with the monarchy itself right now, but I do feel like there's so many celebrities that probably went to P. Diddy's parties. That's the thing. Cause he was a huge he was an executive or a producer. And so I think it's going to be hard to just really prove anything with Prince Harry. The picture I saw of Prince Harry at the party, it looked like he was quite young. Was it a long time ago?
That
It's
was
possible. These parties have been going on for a long
2007.
time. Yeah.
That was
Okay.
2007, and it was at the Diana benefit. So it was in England. They were invited to that. It wasn't a party that Harry had gone to. Allegedly, he's been to parties with that circle in the last couple of years, but I haven't seen any definitive proof or statements to that effect. So, you know, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I'm not buying it until somebody shows me, you know, that there was actual footage there. If he signed the guest book, let's see it.
Yeah. I feel like astrologically, Prince Harry's issues are mostly with obviously his family and then also with his relationship with Meghan right now. If I was just to look at astrologically, that's where I feel like most of the difficulties are centered. So I feel like, just like Annabelle was saying, this is more of a periphery type of thing. And if it, you know, maybe it was just a once in a while type of thing, and then there's really no proof of really any misconduct that we know of. I mean, simply attending the party isn't necessarily proof of anything. So
Of course.
I agree.
Hey, TD, as you chime in on here, based on what you're feeling and what you're seeing with the cards, because they're up there as well. What do you get off of this?
I think Prince Harry just was around the periphery of all of that. I mean, yeah, he shook hands. He might have partaken of some things. He got his picture taken with a lot of people. And I think the Hollywood, or however you want to term that, the music industry, I mean, he wasn't really a part of that. You know what I mean? He just was around the perimeter, kind of shaking hands and, I was seen with so-and-so kind of thing.
And that was the basis. A lot of P. Diddy's events were about, you're going to be seen with all of these people. And apparently that was part of the draw to bring, let's say, people from outside the industry inside the world. And obviously there's going to be more coming up on this. FTA, let me get your last word on this.
Well, I'm thinking that Diddy's lawyers are trying to pull the same thing that the E person did with the Duke of York.
yeah,
I think they're trying to. I think they're trying to make him the fall guy in a sense. Looking at the cards, I don't see. I like Anna said, and TD and Thor. He was sort of like, you know, a kid in a candy store. Ooh, this is cool. I get to meet this person. Ooh, and all this stuff. I don't think he's You know, he's no Mensa graduate as far as
Right.
you know, he's I think Diddy's lawyers are trying to, you know, make him the fall guy in a sense.
Interesting. Again, I got a funny feeling we'll be visiting this a couple more times in the next couple of months.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
without a doubt, I think this is a story that we've just hit the tip of the iceberg on, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
All right. From here, I got to go to 45 and hush money. We've been hearing about this. He's recently been hit with what they're calling a partial gag order in the New York criminal case of his alleged falsifications and business records. Now, 45 has lashed out at the judge on social media. Why? It's the loophole in the gag order. The judge is not a part of the loophole. So he's been going after him and the judge's daughter on social media. And the case, as you may have heard by now, has been pushed back to April 15th. When they reconvene, Michael Cohen, his former lawyer, and the porn star Stormy Daniels will be testifying against 45.
Oh,
Can't say the P word either.
What's that?
Yeah, he can't say the P word.
Oh, jeez. Will you give me the 7 words I can't say on this podcast, please?
Oh,
It's like George
7,000.
Carlin.
There you go. I need the list.
It's like George Carlin.
Exactly.
What do we want to know exactly, Rob? Do we want to know if how he's going to fare, or if he's going to get in trouble? What do you want to know exactly?
Well, I think maybe the cards will. It's more along the lines of knowing that this is happening. We now know he's the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party. You know, is this going to be the potential domino that knocks him down? Because we don't know. We got so many cases against 45 that we have to ask ourselves the question, which one could be the one? Is this the one? Because
All right,
remember,
so-
we've got people coming out that were very closely associated to 45, his former lawyer, a former, and we'll say it this way. Would the evidence on the hush money be enough, considering he's already taken his share of hits?
So we'll just intro it with election stuff.
Boy, did you come prepared today, man? All graphics courtesy of Annabelle.
And she does amazing things.
It also gives her a little more time to shuffle. That's why she did that.
Oh no, some people say I'm setting up my cards, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's true.
But by showing the shuffle, it's like going, there's nothing being set up here. Grab 2 cards at the same time. I saw that. There we go. Explain away, Annabelle.
So you know what? Make sure you go to somebody else besides me. I don't want to set the pace on this one. I don't want to be the pace car.
Okay, well, somebody's got to, get your pointer out at least, and we'll go from there. FTA, run it down for us a little bit. What do you see with the cards, please?
Now, what was the question?
What could this be the beginning? Will this case be the beginning of the end potentially?
Could this knock Trump out of the election? And I said his name.
Oh well. I'm not seeing it. What I feel when I'm looking at these cards, I feel like they're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at this man.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I'm not feeling it. I know there's judgment there, but, and I don't necessarily think that card represents 45. I'm looking at it I'm getting the feeling from the New York court. I just think there's been a lot of underhanded things done in the name of law. So,
well, do you feel something then maybe a little? Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I said what clues me in is the first card there. That to
Ten of Cups.
me, that to me is telling that he is going to triumph. They're gonna try to do everything, and in my opinion, a lot of underhanded stuff too. But he's gonna beat it.
Let me ask this: based on the two people I mentioned who are, let's say, key witnesses in this situation, do the cards represent anything on Cohen or Daniels, basically kind of giving Trump the advantage here? Yeah.
That's where I clued in on. To me, the devil there. That's those two. That's what clues me in. It just, it's like, people are coming out of the woodwork from 20, 30 years ago, and it's like, let's throw the pasta against the wall and see what sticks. I mean, there's just I'm getting the feeling that there's a lot of underhanded things, because the people are speaking, meaning us, and the powers that be are going, oh, no. This can't happen. And that's my feeling from what I'm picking up.
Like I said, I had a feeling the way you were expressing it. That's why I want to bring back those two names, seeing what you saw on the cards. Thor, what do you got?
I think I see it a little differently. So I kind of see it in reverse a little bit. So like the 10 of Cups to me feels like maybe, and this could be 45 and his team, maybe they're a little bit too optimistic that there's some really, really heavy powers against him. And maybe he's almost naively kind of pushing forward, not knowing what he's really up against. Like if he wants to go down this road and keep pushing forward, there's a lot of obstacles that are coming, And by the way, I don't have a bias here towards for or against 45, but I feel like the powers that be do not want him in. Yeah. So they're going to do
100%. I agree with that.
Whatever they have to do, whatever they have to do behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, whatever they need to do, they're going to try to get him not where he's not on the table to even become 47, I think. So
yeah, you are correct. He would be 47 if he was elected. Yes.
Yeah. So I think they're going to make sure he doesn't become 47, at least with the cards at this point. I feel like everything in the kitchen sink is going to be thrown out.
Well, we know there's more than just this case, but this is the one that is now prevalent in mind in the last 72 hours. Annabelle, I know you were delaying, but what do you got?
I got lots here.
Go, girl.
So the judgment is out in the air. Okay. And what this means is that they have declared that he is Batman Orange, Batman must pay money. Down here, this is our dominant energy up here where we have the judgment. Down here, we have below the surface, shadow self, undercover secret 40/47. The money doesn't matter. The money that he has doesn't matter. Look at it this way. Does he need the money to campaign? I mean, he's got oodles of money, but does he need the money to campaign? No, everybody knows who he is. It's not like he's Bob, the postmaster general from Little Town, USA, that nobody knows about and everyone believes in. Everyone knows who he is. All he has to do is scratch his butt and people are paying attention to it. So here, I think he's like, we got this. I'm confident. My team is confident. I think he is a grand chess player. I think he's got a plan ready to go. And it's not something that he needs to run from. This six of swords is running to safety, getting out of heavy waters, going in a different direction, rescue, that kind of thing. He doesn't need to be rescued because the bottom's going to fall out of this. It's nothing. I feel like, mafioso. There's no mafia, but there's nothing. You got nothing. I'm like Robert De Niro here. And here this is the candidate. Now, I agree with Thor, because what we have is we have constantly changing energies. I actually just commented on one of my other videos. Somebody came back and was like, Taylor and Travis didn't break up. You were wrong. You were wrong. You know, when I did that reading on Travis and Taylor, I said it looked like they were going through a rough spot and they could break up. Now, if they didn't, that's okay. You know, sometimes people will work through things. You know, we've all had those moments in our life where we're like, I'm going to quit my job, or I'm going to break up with my girlfriend, or whatever. We've all had those moments. And then sometimes you have a discussion and the future changes. You work through that problem. This is a problem that is being worked through. Currently, we're stuck with him. We're stuck with him as the red candidate. We're stuck with him. He's gonna be on the ticket. Now, does that mean that something drastic is going to happen in the near future? Maybe. I think there are a few plans that are in place. I'm not going to disclose on this broadcast. I think there's a few plans in place that they will say go if they need to as we approach November. I think it's going to be an incredibly chaotic year. I think Team 45/47 has a lot of plans for any reactions from the opposing team. I think the opposing team has plenty of stuff that they're ready to put into play should he start to get ahead, which it looks like he is right now. So the further ahead he gets, the more traction he gets, the more attention he gets, the more support he gets. I think the more desperate and more dramatic attempts are going to be seen from the opposing party. So that's what I see. I think this is a story that is still unfolding.
No, what's interesting too is you talk about, the plans, and that would be the second card from the left on my screen. You were talking about, there's a plan. Now on the surface, this is somebody who doesn't read cards, who is not into, what Thor does, because I'm still learning what Thor does, to be honest with you. With that being said, what is being presented doesn't seem like a plan. On the surface, if you watch through the media, it doesn't seem like there's a plan unfolding yet. So there's where I go, interesting you say that, because it just seems like, okay, he's got more money he's got to pay out. Doesn't seem worried about it. Now, that part I'll agree with you on. He doesn't seem worried about it. He's finding a way where it's like they dropped the bond that has to be owed at this point. He is finding ways to delay. Maybe that is the plan. Maybe what I'm saying is actually the plan here. And please enlighten me.
I think both sides of our election process in the United States learned from the last election to be proactive and not reactive. Mm-hmm. So I think there were a lot of lessons that were learned in 2020.
Oh, I would agree with that. I mean, I think we've learned from just even before that in 2016, that was the change from 4 years. It's like, you are going to have to be, especially with candidates who are aggressive, you're going to have to be proactive. If you're not proactive, you can't fight the fight, so to speak. And go ahead.
I'm still confident that Biden's not going to be on the ticket. I know he is right now. I don't think he's going to be.
No, I agree.
I'm going to wait on that on the panel, but I will say this: when the Democratic National Convention happens, or right around there, then I want a reading, because if anything is going to happen, it would probably happen somewhere around the convention. I could be dead wrong, and I will leave TD to get me out of this and have the last word on this one.
Well, I think 45 is always confident. We'll say that. And he is a great chess player, like Anna said. He has a lot of plans in place. I think in the middle there of that spread, where we've got the Judgment and the King of Pentacles in reverse, I think they're going to pull out everything they can and try to stop him right there. And it's not going to work. Because it seems like no matter what he goes through, he just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger in the polls.
Which is absolutely true, because I mean, if you go to a website called realclearpolitics.com, which gives you a rundown, a lot of the polling from every source known to man, if you go in on a week by week basis, it seems like the numbers little by little keep going up, keep going up, keep going up. The interesting thing to watch for, and it's something we may do in the cards when we get close to the election, if this is the five-way race that they talk about, which is the three other independent candidates, which probably are not going to win, but how much of the electorate will they take? And that's something we'll do for another time, but keep it in the back of your mind, folks.
So,
with that
Rob,
in mind, we'll go to the next. Go ahead.
We got a question regarding 45 from one of our faithful viewers, Prima 1942. I popped it up on the screen.
Hello.
So, I think it's a curious question. I think it's worth exploring a little bit.
We got some time. Let's do that. And especially considering I look at the question, I go, this is a man who has been not shy about his diet, which is not great. and that's being nice about it. So this reading is based on the question, does he have heart issues? All right, Annabelle, what do you got?
So the first thing that jumps out at me, when I teach my students, I tell them always look for those major arcana cards. Mm-hmm. So the major arcanas, the way that I describe it is the major arcanas are our nouns and our proper nouns, and then the minor arcanas, the regular deck of cards, are the adjectives for us. So the first thing that pops out is we've got three major arcana that are in reverse: right. The moon, the star, and the fool. So the moon is secrets that are hidden, not paying attention to your intuition when it's in the reverse. When it's in reverse, the secrets are revealed. So I think diagnostic testing has shown that there is some stuff. We're still a little bit in denial. We're still maybe having the chocolate cheesecake every now and then. The star in reverse shows that this may be the ultimate issue that he has. This may be something, and I do feel that there's some congestion in his chest now. It could be congestion in the lungs, but it feels like there's some tightness in there. I don't think that it's eminent when the star's in reverse. It's not. It's really off into the future and not something that we're going to have to face eminently, not something that is going to, come crashing down on us. Here, we're walking away from these issues. So this is a question mark for me, because are we walking away from it and being more healthful, or are we walking away from it and ignoring it? With this fool in reverse, the fool in reverse is very reckless. So he may be walking away from it and still having that chocolate cheesecake. I don't know if he likes chocolate cheesecake, but
you're pontificating on his dietary habits. Basically.
Who doesn't like chocolate cheesecake?
Well, anybody in the panel who does not like chocolate cheesecake may leave now.
So here we have the Three of Pentacles, which is a coming together of greater minds, of people that are knowledgeable and solid. This may be a fitness coach. This may be a dietary consultant. Up here, he's trying, but he's kind of fighting it. Our pages are always a little flaky, and they're not always as stable and consistent as we would like them to be. They're very youthful. They're very goofy. Down here under the surface, he knows in his heart of hearts that he needs to be a little smarter about his heart of hearts. So,
well, it's simple. Cut back on the Happy Meals. Come on now.
So, Rob, your choice to kick it over to someone.
No problem. I will kick it over, but I will say it is interesting that 45 and the Fool card finally happened. How many times have we done this and the Fool card finally came out on this? Just pontificating there for a second. TD, you go first. What do you got?
Yeah, the moon is secrets coming out, and the star is maybe not wanting to face what we have to face. He's trying to get away from his issues, and he is being reckless with the Fool in reverse. However, he has his team there at the end that are going to say, yeah, you got to watch this a little bit closer, maybe go see the doctor, blah, 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 and follow a better diet.
And what's interesting, too, is that it seems like every time we've had one of our presidents go visit a doctor, have we ever heard, oh, he's in terrible shape. Oh, my God, he shouldn't be. We never hear that. Thor, what can you add to this for us?
So the Seven of Swords to me, that always is like hidden, even reversed. Okay, so like reversed, upright. Seven of Swords is always some hidden situation. Okay, and then I do feel like, and I was Googling on my phone for a moment how old Trump is. He's 77 years old. So we have to keep in mind that, like, a minor issue could become a big issue.
Very good point.
So, the full revert, I do feel like, yeah, the word could be he's being very foolhardy with the health. There might be issues there. I did notice when I look at his astrology chart, planet Mars is in the sign of Leo, and Leo in the astrology chart traditionally represents the heart. So Mars can be a very volatile type of planet. So we can just kind of speculate on that, but yeah, it kind of does confirm. I feel like he better really think about it and watch. But yeah, I do feel like Three of Pentacles shows that there are a lot of doctors and there are a lot of people. I do feel like he's probably regularly going because they tell him he has to, but probably he wouldn't go on his own.
Yeah, that sounds true, but somehow I'm just not picturing this guy checking his blood pressure every day. Call me crazy on that. FTA, you got the last word.
Well, the Seven of Swords down there, I picture him, going on a diet and sneaking a cheeseburger, hiding in the closet eating a cheeseburger. So that's what, I can, he's trying to follow a diet, but that image just popped up that,
Deb, I think you're reading me right now with the cheeseburger in the closet. I think that's me.
That would be me, and he's hiding it, because it's, I guess when you've never had to watch your weight, it's really tough when when you have to. And he's of that age, and I guess if he's had a diet of fast food stuff, it's going to catch up to him.
Absolutely. I will tell you, thank you for the question. If you do want to chime in on this and you have an idea that we can do on the fly, we will try to do it if we have time. So please continue to engage us when we do our thing every couple of weeks here. And with that, Anna, what do you got there?
So I just want to highlight our good friend Foxy313. Foxy actually had asked if he could come on to the show today, and I never sent him a link. Foxy, I'm dog sitting, so like my life is crazy right now. But Foxy always brings up our favorite guy, Shaq, and I just want to say it only took 48 minutes for Shaq to get a mention.
What was the over-under? 32 minutes? I'm trying to... I forgot. No wagering. I forgot about that. All right, Anna, clear
Foxy,
the board.
we love you. We love you, Foxy.
Thanks for chiming in, Foxy. With that in mind, this is sort of the news item that's been top of mind over the last 24 plus hours, the tragedy that did happen at the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. As you know, the cargo ship did crash into the bridge. As of today, 2 have been confirmed dead. 4 more people are presumed dead. The crash approach, as of right now, is being dubbed accidental. But if you've been paying attention, many online conspiracists, if I can say it that way, are calling this a black swan event. Annabelle, explain a black swan event to me, please.
So black swan event, and I don't know if this will get us tagged either, but is an event that is engineered to distract and
bread and circuses.
Yeah, it's a magician trick. We're gonna look over here because we're doing something over here. So I don't know if we were not tracking Diddy's jet or Trump's jet, or I don't know where Hillary had lunch. Right. But it is a black swan event. Now, I do have a question. We have a friend who is a tugboat pilot, and up here in New York Harbor, and those ships are typically, this was what tipped it off for me. Those ships are typically escorted into port to specifically avoid this kind of event in the event of a power loss or et cetera, whatever. I do know that there's a lot of people that are referencing the explosions that happened on the opposite side of the bridge. We have a friend who's an engineer, and I actually am going to pick his brain on this as well, because I believe that those were electrical wires that were popping, because they weren't large explosions. They were up at the top. I just don't I think if you were going to try and take the whole thing out, and you were going to do it with something. You do it underwater. You would have underwater explosions.
Right.
Talk to me about the Russian pipeline offline. So,
I know.
think.
Go ahead.
I think there's something up with it. Panel, how do you guys feel about this? You think it was an accident or?
No. I definitely think
engineered.
this was
Engineered.
Yeah. Like I said, bred in circuses.
Not being an astrologer by trade, Thor, I do have a question. When we have events like this, is it possible to use the date and the time and kind of look at the event with an astrological chart? Can we do that?
Yeah, so those are called Prasna charts, and basically, you generate a chart for the time, the date, and you can kind of get, it's just like any form of divination, just like tarot cards or runes. It's like you're kind of looking at the planetary placements of that when that happened. Right off the bat, we know that the eclipse just happened.
Right.
So right away, we already know there was a heavy astrological event.
Right.
The thing I found very interesting about this, and I don't know a lot about tugboats or cargo ships and the protocols when they're leaving under bridges and things, but what I found super interesting is I saw a post on Instagram where it was one of the conspiracy theories, but they were talking about there was this movie that was released on Netflix called Leave the World Behind that apparently the Obamas were involved in. And if you watch the movie in the beginning, there's a scene of a cargo ship that loses control and it hits the beach. And that's like the beginning of the movie.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this is a very symbolic. Okay, I'm like, this is a very strange coincidence. I mean, could this be symbolically representing the start of something like the movie did? So
I'd say that is kind of kooky. That is definitely kind of kooky.
Yeah.
That's on my watch list for tonight. Somebody mentioned.
I don't believe in coincidences. I don't. So.
Well, I'm gonna throw a couple things as Anna's shuffling the cards, because this is two things I've noticed in social media. The former UN security advisor Michael Flynn, who's been a little disgraced, did take to X to post his views on this. He's now had over 8 million views in less than 24 hours on it. So something to keep in mind. And actor Russell Brand, who has got his own podcast, spent an entire podcast calling out on this quote unquote event, and literally had over 100,000 people right live watching him talk about this. So there's definitely an interest in where we're going right here, whether you believe it or not. Anna, the cards will maybe shed some light on whether or not this was that so-called black event.
Ooh, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Gaslighting. Ooh. So, for those of you that are watching outside of the United States, it does warrant to tell you that not only is that waterway a major thoroughfare for imports into the East Coast. I mean, it's one of the major ones, but the bridge also is one of the major conduits for supplies to be shipped out of the port area. So
you bring up a fantastic point there, and we know that economically they're going to take a bit of a hit because of what's happening.
Yeah.
So please continue.
Absolutely. So all of the tarot cards that I order from overseas are going to be delayed, and I'm going to be really upset because 200 decks is not enough.
200 is not enough, really.
The other thing that's very interesting too is that bridge does not have train tracks on it, so it's just vehicles that can go over it, cars, trucks. But a certain person came out and said that he commuted all the time on a train going over that bridge.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
I don't know. Yeah. I just found that very interesting, how it's all about, me, not about the people that died or anything else.
Right.
So I went, wow.
Yeah, that's all you can do at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Really. Annabelle, explain a little bit, because obviously there's a lot of trauma going on in these cards.
So, the big one that we all went, ooh, is this Seven of Cups here. The Seven of Cups is dazzled by display, dazzled by choices, dazzled by all sorts of things. It also is gaslighting. We're gonna put on a show for you so that you can't see. So you don't know what's really happening. This was a reckless move. This fool in reverse. So the fool at the beginning of the major arcana is excited. He's going on an adventure. He's Bilbo Baggins. I'm going on an adventure. But when he's in reverse, he's careening into an adventure. He's going bananas and recklessly running. This is, he's fueled by testosterone, adrenaline, and Bud Light. I don't know. Like, he's just going.
Well, there's a new definition of the Gwen Stefani song, Bananas.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So good reference there. So, this was a move that was made, I don't think with, I even though I did say that there's, everyone's kind of proactive and not reactive, I think that this was a moment that they said, what did Frau from what did she say? Bring in the rah! They brought in the clowns. I'm sorry, they brought in the clowns. So, careening into an adventure, throwing up that smoke screen, getting people focused on something. Focus on this. Focus on this.
Don't look over here. Look over here is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, they're working very hard at this. The Four of Swords, when it's in reverse, it's rest, recover, catch your breath, figure out how you're going to move to the next place. There seems to be a little bit of tension on here, and ultimately I think that this is going to have repercussions that they did not expect if this was in fact an engineered event. So up top, this is an opportunity. It's almost like Munchausen syndrome by proxy. For those of you that don't know what that is when a person will make another person sick so that they can come in and correct them and nurture them and bring them back to health, so that everyone goes, oh, you poor suffering soul. I can't believe you had to deal with that. We all saw that in The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis. There was a young girl in there that was
it's funny you mentioned that, because it's like I'm watching an episode of 911 that's in repeats, and that was actually the center point of that episode with the mother and the child. And it's one of those things that does pop up a lot on these situational dramas, that's for sure.
Right. And this Munchausen syndrome by proxy, as far as like politics and the vast culture that we all have here, doing that, having a crisis so we can come in and we can say, oh, we're going to take care of you and we're going to make this right. The one situation, Maui, I didn't see them making too many grand overtures to mother that situation. So I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm not saying that Maui was a certain situation, but it may have been. But this is a situation where I think they created, I'm going out on a limb. They created this. They're going to come in and they're going to say, hey, we're going to make this right. It's an opportunity to put some infrastructure in there, maybe put, Deb said there was no rail on there. Maybe now we got high-speed rail on there. Maybe that's the start of the high-speed rail. There's going to be something there. I've already seen the estimates to correct this situation. So that I kind of think there's something up. Under the surface, they're blindly going into this, which echoes our fool over here. They're blindly going into it. Now, going into just some straight up psychic stuff, I don't feel that this was an effort that was made as carefully as it should have been. But someone had a lot of bravado and a lot of ego on the other side, and they were like, well, you know what, let me take care of this. Well, we can do something really cool, you know. And instead of like lighting off fireworks, they did this massive thing. I think we're going to see more issues from it. The debris that is under the water is going to cause issues for some time. It's going to cause going in and out issues. We're going to have ships that they're going to clean it up as best they can, and then they're going to have ships that go through and they're going to rip the holes open. So I have a feeling that we're going to see more issues at that location than we would like to see in a cleaned up situation. So that's something that I see coming in the future. So I just don't think that they have the money to clean it up as well as they would like to. So we may actually get like just one conduit. There's going to be like one small area that they can come through ultimately. And they're going to say, oh, well, you know, there's too much going on either side, you know. But I think we'll see not only the shipping cargo ships that are having some issues there are limited to one space, but even the smaller boats, you know, regular people like you and I that have, you know, their little, you know, what is it, craft boat, like, you know, they go out there and they're just cruising around. I think we're going to see issues with people like that over the next 5 or 10 years, 5 or 6 years.
It's going to definitely take time for sure.
Yeah.
So kick it over to anybody else.
Yeah, I will. Before I do, Anna, the one thing I'm getting off of you just as you talk about all this, and we're talking about how all the conspiracy theories have been really popping up over the last 12 to 24 hours. You don't seem surprised that all these theories have been popping up.
No.
Now remember, I'm the novice in this world, so that's why I sit here with the mouth wide open, kind of going, huh?
So Rob, with you know, and you and I have talked about this, and some of the gals on here have been to my Too Hot for YouTube shows, but
right.
I've done a handful of them. Sometimes I go off platform and I do private events because you know, I really like to find what I call the yellow brick road for all of the celebrities that may be going in a wrong direction. I've done good readings for, or at least tried to be helpful for, like Amber Heard, Meghan Markle.
Right.
You know, I've always tried to kind of find a good place for people to get to. There's some situations that are coming up that I think are very curious. Greg and our friend Mike and I did I've been teaching Greg and our friend Mike how to do remote viewing. And I taught them the military version. The last time I had them just go into a psychic version. We did a hypnosis, and then they did that. And we did some research on why the National Guard is being stationed all over the course of totality where the solar eclipse is going to happen in the United States. And we got some very interesting answers. So I think that there are more things at play. The world is too much for us, and it's really hard to not have pockets of conspiracy, pockets of people that are maybe working toward a different end than what all of us would like to see. But I'm not overt on my channel about it. I want to keep my channel uplifted and positive. One of the cool things, and one of the reasons why I wanted to put this group together with our absent Rick, is that, you know, like-minded psychics that are positive, we can have a collective upliftment. So having that positivity together, you know, I really do want to kind of bring things up. So this looks like a terrible situation. I'm going to throw an extra 3 cards just to see how we get out of it. Some of us don't need it. We're better off not knowing what we think we know. I'm going to bring them down here. So, you know, some things are better left unsaid, and that's here. That keeps us all happy.
Yes.
And you know, sometimes we have to let people just kind of do what they're doing. Sometimes those powers that be, you know, we can talk about a specific event in November of 1962 or 1963. Sorry, 1963. Certain United States event that happened in 1963 November. That was a situation that not a lot of us really know what happened that day. You know, there's a lot of curious speculation on it. Even one of our presidential candidates has some thoughts on it, being that it was his uncle. but sometimes ignorance is bliss, and sometimes in order to keep the machinery of life going, we have to kind of put our head down and go, you know what, those are the big cats, the fat cats that are dealing with that. I just got to deal with my electric bill and my kids' performances. So there you go. That was a long answer.
And you're bringing up November 63, and I'm sitting there at first going, what football game was going on in November 63 that I missed? I'm like, shows you where my mind goes sometimes. TD, can you bring some more to this dance?
Well, it was definitely an engineered event that caused us worry and anxiety there by the person sitting up in the bed with the swords over his head. And yeah, we're not going to know why they did it. We're just not going to know, and we're going to have to be happy with that.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of months, because obviously everybody, I think, is in agreement here of what you're thinking. FTA, your thoughts?
I just think, there's so much energy out there between we just had a lunar eclipse. We have the solar eclipse coming up. I've just had I don't know. I've just had this feeling that there's some heavy, something's coming. I don't know what it is.
Agreed.
I just have this feeling.
I agree.
And I'm wondering, looking at, all right, we had the bridge collapse. I'm wondering what else are they going to try to do? That's what I'm concerned about. That will take our mind off maybe the economy, people, just a lot of things. That's what I'm, I can't.
It's funny why you say that, because it goes back to something Anna said earlier. Remember, don't look over here, look over here.
Yeah. And especially, people are hurting out there. Everybody is struggling, and, and then this thing comes up and you're like, okay, and this, unfortunately, the skeptic in me immediately goes, all right, wait a minute. How do you take out a whole bridge? Like Anna had said, where are the tugboats? I grew up in the New York, New Jersey area. Where are the tugboats? They're supposed to guide them in. Right. So that made me kind of.
Mm-hmm. And to go back to a point, and I'm throwing it to you, Thor, we were talking about the eclipse earlier, like you were saying, that it could be up to 30 days after an eclipse that we could see events going on. So as you're going to give your opinion on this, also elaborate a little bit more. Could it be, if by your readings that you've done so far, and obviously you would do more on a daily basis over the next 30 days, are we going to see some more chaotic stuff potentially?
Yes, and absolutely. Next 30 days, especially with the April 8th solar eclipse, I feel like that's the big one. Okay, that's the big one. I feel like April is going to be a very crazy month. And by the way, I had a weird intuition as we were doing this reading that the word came to me that there could be sabotage involved with this too. We have a lot of conflicts going on in the world, so I just want people to realize that this could be. I mean, we're thinking it might be this power elite over here. It could be this power elite over here. So, and maybe they're sending messages to each other through various means. So I'm just throwing that out there. I had that intuition come to me as I saw the spread.
So Thor, I agree with you, because the event, and Rob, we absolutely can't say what happened in Moscow. Like, we're not allowed to say that. I think the event in Moscow is not what we think it is either. I thought Russia's response to it, the Russian police response, was amazing. But I think that's something that deserves a little bit of exploration too, but not today. Not today, right. Mr. Potter.
I think
so. We're going to have to have a whole list of the replacement speech for that. But we have some questions, Rob. So I start a few questions. We've got. Do we want to move on?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get some questions up, let's do that. We'll wrap up with some questions.
So Shelly had a question about what's going on with all the UV lights popping up. And I actually have a question about that too, because not only am I seeing UV lights all over the place, this is weird. I'm seeing cars with like these LED screens in them. They're all blue. And I saw 3 this morning. And I at first I was like, oh, is that the same car? Like I don't know if that's the same car, but it was a little LED screen that had like, it looked like words on it, but it didn't look like Roman letter. It didn't look like, regular letters. Like I don't know what it was, but I was like, oh, that's weird. It was like really blue. So I think there's something a bit odd going on with the UV lights. Is anyone aware of the UV lights that are
No, it's
we're
a new one on me.
No.
What I heard,
No, I haven't.
I heard
I
that they're replacing a lot of the white, the like street lights. That this is what I've heard and I've seen is with these, UV looking lights. So, but could people be reading into that? Maybe they just changed the bulb manufacturer. I don't know. That's what I would be asking.
Well,
So
isn't it our job to read in this stuff? Come on now.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
You know what, Shelly, if you can give us some more details in there, we'll dive into that. Oh my God. Samantha said the flux capacitor.
And the question, of course, is the flux capacitor fluxing?
So what I was seeing, it was on the dashboard. And it was on the driver's side of the dashboard. Very strange. It was very odd. And I literally just saw it today. So we'll come back to that. Now, there's a direct question for Thor. Thor, what is the difference generally between July Leos and August Leos?
So in Vedic astrology, there would be not really a difference. Since in Vedic astrology, the importance of birth time is it's very important because you could actually be any of the 12 ascendant signs in the day. The ascendant sign changes every 2 hours. So for example, July and whether you're a Leo in July or August, from a Vedic astrologer's point of view, there's no difference with that.
So
I was about to say, it raises an interesting question for me as somebody who is kind of born Virgo, but literally only like 2 days after, like I could have been Leo, but I was 2 days later became Virgo. And they talk about, well, you could have traits on both sides. Enlighten me on that, if you can.
So, you're talking about when you're born on the cusp.
Yes,
so when you're born,
exactly.
Yeah. So your ascendant sign can be, if it's like 1 or 2 degrees from the neighboring sign, since if you think about it, the demarcation line in space, it's just a fictional line there. So you're still very close to that energy. So definitely you want to read, you could be somewhat of a mixture of those energies. So if it's very close, it's like, well, you're very close to that, like Gemini and Cancer, for example, you could be very close to that if you're a Gemini, let's say 29 degrees Gemini, and you're only 1 degree away from Cancer, well, okay, you could the line that we make for it is actually an arbitrary line if you think about it. So you kind of do need to read into it.
And it's interesting. I've always wanted to ask that question because I've known about it for years, but never really understood. So I appreciate that. I figured it was a perfect time to bring that up right about there. Anna,
so
what else
knowing
you got?
You, Rob, I think I've known Rob for forever, and you are definitely more of a Leo vibe for me.
That's interesting.
You definitely come across more of a Leo vibe. Extremely confident, extremely upfront. You're no shrinking violet. Let's put it that way.
Thank you very much.
None of us from New Jersey really are though. Yeah. So Thor, I actually have an astrology question. When people are born during retrogrades, now I know there's lots of stuff that can go retrograde. Someone said to me that sometimes harkens to their past life stuff. What's your platform on that?
So when you have a retrograde natal planet in your chart, it usually represents, there definitely is the soul, if you want to call it, the soul of the Atman is trying to learns about the energies of what that planet represents. So it's almost like the results of that planet are delayed. So for example, if you have a retrograde Jupiter in your chart, it's going to show that that's going to be a focus in your life, is developing. Jupiter would represent like spirituality and religion. So it's going to be a focus in your life that you're going to be developing on, but you're going to see the results later on in life, because retrograde is kind of like, it feels like there's a delayed effect. There's a lot of symbolism in that. When there's a retrograde planet, it appears to be going backwards in the sky. So it's almost like the planet is not keeping up with the events here on Earth.
Okay.
So the idea is that that planet's going to be a major player in your life with the energies, and depending on what planet it is, that would be, in what houses it rules. That's how we would determine, okay, what areas of your life are going to be delayed throughout your life, but you're going to see the results later on.
Very cool.
Good stuff.
Very cool.
Real quick, if people want to know more about what you do, where can they find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Thor Sandalwood, and then also my website, thorsandalwood.com. So pretty simple.
There you go. Perfect way to give him a plug, since we're kind of good. We're putting him extra overtime work on the guy, for God's sake. Well, I think that pretty much kind of wraps up this edition. So let's thank everybody. And Annabelle, give yourself the center stage and plug what you need to plug.
So I am Annabelle, and you can find me at fortunecookiestarot.com. You can book appointments through there. Also, I am relaunching sloppyshuffletarot.com as a second website. I'm doing some cool stuff on there. They're going to be the same website, but you can go to either to book appointments. Also, Rob and I are talking about doing a little Q&A on his channel, The A Game with Rob Acampora. So Rob does lots of amazing interviews with lots of amazing people, celebrities, musicians, actors, comedians. What else, Rob? Who else do you do interviews?
Yeah, most recent episode happened on Monday. I had one of the alums of Clerks, Ernie O'Donnell, who played Rick Darris in the film. Ernie's become a big wig now in the independent music scene. New horror film is about to be launched. One of his stars and writers is Troy Burbank. They were talking about the new film What Lives Here, which is about to debut this weekend, and then hopefully go nationwide. So check that out. A lot of interesting stuff, including a random shot segment where we put the two guys who have been friends for so long, see how well they know each other. And we had arrows pointing back and forth, say, who is more likely to be? My favorite question, who is more likely to need bail money at 2 a.m? Definitely a lot of fun. Check it out. And yes, look for Anna sometime in the next month or two popping up on my show to talk about her world, and we'll elaborate more on what's going on with all of this world.
So TD, where can people find you and see the amazing stuff that you do outside of the Psychic News universe?
I am on Instagram, Tarot Destiny altogether, or on YouTube, Tarot/Destiny.
And the best way to get a reading with you is by private message on Instagram. Yes?
Yes.
Excellent. TD is a very gifted reader. I highly suggest everybody give her a shot. Try out some of her readings. She's super cool. She's super nice, super healing readings. That one of the things that I like to see in my psychics, my astrologers, my mediums, I want to see them helping and healing. And she's one of those people that absolutely does it.
Thank you.
So Rob, we're gonna.
Oh, you got to give FTA some props here, because we're going to say before you say goodbye.
My
channel
channel's a work in progress.
Still, okay.
I'm getting there slowly but surely.
So FTA, would you want to do a collab with me by any chance?
Of course.
Let's do
That
a
would be
collab
very
next week.
cool.
Yeah, once I'm back to a single dog household, we'll do a collab together, you and I. So everybody can look forward to that. We'll preview it a couple of days before, and maybe we'll do a live together. We'll have some fun with it.
I think so. It'd be lots of fun. I have to sedate the dogs, but we'll be okay.
That's all right. Sometimes we got to sedate the dogs. It's all right. It's all right.
All right. So we'll reconvene 2 weeks from now, and when we reconvene, I'm out of this box. I'll be back in the other box. I come back to that box. Okay.
We'll have one dog.
I was holding
Brady
Rick's
Bunch.
box. That's not going to come out right, but I was holding Rick's box for this week. So there you go, Rick. You're right back here in 2 weeks.
It's like the
For my-
Brady Bunch.
Yeah. This is quite a bunch. For my
Yes, we are.
esteemed panel, and until we meet 2 weeks from now, hey, please make this a part. Like us on our individual sites. And by the way, as we wrap up every week, we will see you in the future. Take care.
Bye, everybody.